You think you need to feel ready before you act. That one day, something inside you will shift, and the nerves will disappear, and the doubt will quiet, and the confidence will arrive like a switch finally flipped. And then, finally, you'll begin. But what if that day never comes? What if ready isn't something you feel, but something you build? You've been waiting for a feeling. But the people you admire, they didn't wait. They acted, messy, scared, uncertain. And confidence didn't come first. Action did. This is the truth no one told you. Readiness isn't a prerequisite. It's a product of movement. And it starts the moment you stop waiting. You've probably said it before. I'll do it when I'm ready. You weren't lying. You truly meant it. You wanted to wait until the nerves faded, until you had more experience, more certainty, more courage. But let me ask you this. How long have you been waiting? Days? Months? Years? Most people never realize they're not waiting for the right moment. They're waiting for permission to believe in themselves. They're hoping that confidence will show up first. But confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes because of it. We've been taught to believe that readiness is a feeling. It's not. It's a decision. And today, we're going to talk about how that one shift from waiting to moving can change everything about your career, your relationships, your life. You don't have to feel ready to begin. You just have to begin. And that's where real growth starts. We treat confidence like it's a destination, as if one day we'll wake up and just have it. As if there's some version of ourselves waiting on the other side of enough accomplishments that suddenly feels bold and certain. But here's the truth. Confidence doesn't arrive fully formed. It's not a prerequisite. It's a byproduct. It grows every time you choose to act without it. Every time you step forward without knowing the outcome. Every time you speak up while your voice shakes. The people who seem confident aren't fearless. They're experienced. They've failed enough times to know it won't break them. They've tried enough things to know they can figure it out. You don't build confidence by preparing endlessly. You build it by participating, by practicing, by doing. That's the hidden truth no one told us in school. You learn how to believe in yourself by being someone who acts anyway. We imagine courage as a dramatic gesture, standing up to a crowd, jumping into the unknown, taking the mic with fire in our eyes. But real courage, the kind that builds confidence, it's smaller than that. It's quieter. It's sitting down to write the email you've avoided for weeks. It's pressing send when your stomach clenches. It's walking into a room where no one knows your name and staying. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the refusal to let fear make your decisions. And the people who grow the fastest, who become magnetic, powerful, trusted, they don't wait for the loud kind of courage. They practice the quiet kind, the version that lives in tiny moments. That doesn't look like much on the outside, but changes everything inside. Here's the real trap most people fall into. They think not acting is neutral, that waiting until they're ready is just a pause. But in reality, every time you wait, your brain records that inaction as a vote against your ability. It says, "We didn't try because we probably couldn't do it." And over time, those missed chances compound. That resume you never sent, that idea you never pitched, that conversation you avoided. You start collecting evidence, not of failure, but of hesitation. And hesitation is a silent killer of growth. What's worse? You start believing that this version of you, the passive one, is permanent. But it's not. It's just practiced. And anything you've practiced, you can unlearn. Action breaks the loop. It doesn't have to be huge, but it has to be now. The first time you do anything, it will be rough. That's not a flaw. That's the blueprint. Confidence doesn't come from doing something well. It comes from doing it at all. You build it like muscle. Repetition, feedback, recovery. People who wait to be perfect before they start never get strong because they never touch the weight. But the ones who dare to suck, who stumble publicly, who try and flinch and adjust and try again, those are the ones who rise. The first rep isn't supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be done. Start messy. Start scared. Just start. There's a myth we carry without even realizing it, that some people are just born confident, that they were always this bold, this articulate, this sure of themselves. We look at them and think, they must have something I don't. But here's what you don't see: the failed interviews, the awkward conversations, the quiet hours they spent working on themselves when no one was watching. Confidence isn't natural. It's practiced, over and over, until eventually it feels like second nature, but only because it started out as second guessing. So the next time you compare yourself to someone further ahead, don't ask, why don't I have that? Ask, how many quiet, uncelebrated reps have they done that I haven't started yet? Every action you take is a vote for the person you believe you are. So when you speak up in a meeting, your brain says, I'm the kind of person who contributes. When you send that proposal, it says, I'm someone who creates. And when you avoid those things, it says the opposite. Over time, those votes build a self-image, not from thoughts or affirmations, but from choices. That's why the fastest way to change how you see yourself isn't to wait until you believe something new. It's to do something new. Again, and again, and again, until your identity has no choice but to evolve to match your actions. You're not faking it. You're becoming it. Comfort feels safe, but over time, it becomes a cage. That job you've outgrown, that relationship that keeps you small, that story you keep telling yourself about why you're just not that kind of person, they all feel familiar. But familiar isn't the same as right, and comfort isn't the same as peace. Sometimes the thing keeping you stuck isn't fear. It's the illusion that staying where you are is easier than growing. But growth has a cost, and so does standing still. One gives you progress, the other gives you quiet regret. You get to choose. Let me tell you about Andrew. He was terrified of networking, thought he had nothing to offer. But he made himself a rule. Every Friday, he'd message one person he admired on LinkedIn. Just one. The first few were ignored. But by week 7, someone replied. By week 15, he got coffee with a VP. A few months later, a job offer came, not because he knew the right people, but because he showed up before he was ready. Or Claire. She wanted to speak on stage, but hated her voice, so she read a paragraph out loud every night, then recorded herself, then joined a local storytelling meetup. Now, she's the keynote speaker they invite when they want connection, not just content. These aren't stars. They're starters. Like you can rehearse forever, rewrite your resume again, rework your website, rethink the message, reconsider the conversation. But at some point, you have to stop rehearsing and just walk on stage. Because the truth is, the spotlight's already on. Life doesn't wait for your perfect moment. It keeps moving. And the people who grow, they don't try to be flawless. They try to be present. In the mess, in the moment, in the middle of it all. They trust that action will carry them farther than overthinking ever could. You don't need a plan that guarantees success. You need one step, taken today. You can tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow 100 times. You can journal affirmations every morning, but your brain doesn't believe what you promise. It believes what you prove. Every time you show up, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's imperfect, your brain registers that as data. I take action. I follow through. I can do hard things. Confidence isn't a mood. It's a memory, a history of showing up. So when you feel doubt creep in, you don't argue with it. You don't try to outthink it. You outact it. Do the thing. Let your body lead. Let your proof grow louder than your fear. Big wins feel great, but they're rare. What actually builds your self-trust are small wins, daily, doable, often invisible to others. Sending that email, finishing a task, waking up when you said you would. These are deposits into your internal trust account. Each one says, I can count on me. And over time, that's what confidence really is, not ego, not certainty, but a quiet belief that when it matters, you'll show up, not perfectly, but reliably. That's what separates the ones who rise from the ones who stall. They don't wait for inspiration. They chase completion, not flashy, just real. Motivation is fickle. One day, it's strong. The next day, gone. But momentum? Momentum builds on itself. That's why the people who grow the fastest don't chase the perfect morning or the perfect mindset. They chase motion. 1 hour, one task, one representative. They understand that action isn't the result of motivation. It's the cause. You don't move because you feel good. You feel good because you moved. This is how you build days that stack. Not because they all feel great, but because you kept going anyway. There's someone 5 years from now, looking back at you, wondering, did they start when it was hard? Did they push through the doubt? Did they show up before they felt ready? That future version of you isn't asking for perfection. They're asking for courage, and you don't owe it to anyone else. You owe it to them. The you who wants to look back and say, I'm proud of what we chose. Every action you take today is a vote toward becoming them. So choose wisely. They're counting on you. There's this lie that if you haven't made it by now, you never will. That you missed your shot. That everyone else figured it out while you were still trying to find your footing. But you are not behind. You are becoming. Read that again. You're not late. You're just early in the process. Your timeline doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Your confidence doesn't have to arrive on cue. You are exactly where you need to be to begin. Not in comparison. In courage. Start now. That's right on time. Fear doesn't always yell. Sometimes it whispers. This isn't the right time. What if you fail? What will they think? It sounds like logic. It sounds like caution, but it's disguise. Fear doesn't want to keep you safe. It wants to keep you small. And if you're not careful, you'll start to confuse fear with wisdom. You'll think hesitation is maturity, that staying put is smart. But real wisdom knows the difference between danger and discomfort. Real wisdom knows growth lives on the other side of discomfort. So when fear whispers, you don't argue. You act, not recklessly, but decisively. You hear the whisper, and you walk anyway. The truest form of confidence isn't built on praise. It's built in private. When no one's watching. When there's no applause. No scoreboard. Just you. Choosing to do the work anyway. The ones who build real confidence. They show up in the quiet hours. They say yes to themselves when it would be easier to hide. And eventually, The world catches up. The recognition comes. But by then, it's just a bonus. Because their identity isn't built on external validation. It's built on internal integrity. Confidence isn't about impressing other people. It's about becoming someone you can look in the mirror and respect. That means doing the hard things, the awkward things, the boring things. It means keeping promises to yourself. It means being honest about what you want and brave enough to pursue it. At some point, you stop chasing validation and start building self-respect. And that's when the game changes. Because people don't follow charisma. They follow conviction. Confidence doesn't appear in a flash. It compounds, one brave day at a time. The email you sent, the workout you finished, the speech you gave, the truth you told. One action might not change your life, but stacked, day after day, they will. Eventually, the person who once hesitated becomes the person who inspires, not because they're perfect, but because they kept choosing courage, quietly, repeatedly, unshakably. Here's the truth that wraps everything we've said. Action doesn't just build skills. It doesn't just build results. It builds you. Every time you choose movement over waiting, you become more grounded, more self-trusting, more you. You become the kind of person who doesn't just dream, but does, who doesn't just wish, but moves, who doesn't wait to feel ready, because they know readiness is a myth, but action is real. It's where change begins, and it's where your confidence lives. Not someday, not later. Now, right here, with one choice, one step, one brave move. You're not waiting anymore. You're building your confidence, your path, your life. Let's go.